right now, today, this campus uses about 1 million gallons of water a day. We processed about 54 million passengers last year, and we're running about 8 to 10% higher than that this year. We have projections to reach perhaps 70 million passengers in the coming 15 to 20 years. The sanitary plant was built in 2004, upgraded to sequencing batch reactors from a conventional plant. The industrial plant, like I mentioned, is from 1980. So, although our flows are low, we only process about 700,000 gallons on the sanitary side. Our concentrations are about 4 to 5 times any other plant in the Bay Area. So our ammonia load coming into the sanitary plant is typically over 200 parts per million. Our TSS is over 1,000. Our BOD is about 900. And you think about it, we're basically a septic receiving station. Airplanes do not like carrying water around, right? That costs money. So they carry that blue fluid that is actually toxic to our fish and our bioassay and everything else. So we've got to be very careful. We'll be actually putting in color monitoring in our new plants to actually monitor for the color, because if United Airlines, which is the dominant airline, if they get their dosing wrong, if something happens with the little orifice plate, they can overdose their planes. We get that blue liquid here, it wipes out everything. It kills our bacteria in our process. So again, we're very unique. We don't have the dilution to pass along. I used to be at SFPUC. We can pretty much take anything at PUC because the system is so large. Here, a single spill, and we do spill on this airport every day, whether it be radiator fluid, fuel, or something, it is happening. We really got to be protective of that. We operate 3 different systems: a drainage collection system, we have a first flush system that takes the drainage water and sends it to 10 million gallons of storage on the airfield. That gets diverted into our industrial plant. So although we're treating anywhere from 300,000 to 700,000 gallons a day on our industrial side, that will go up to about 1.7 million in wet weather as we bring in all that first flush. We're trying to get the rubber from the tires on the airfield and things like that into this system. A big problem we have is firefighting foam is regulated. We are under FAA regulation. So there's lots of things like firefighting foam that is mandated by the federal government. It's one of the nastiest substances you can find. It sticks to things, it starves it of oxygen, yet we have to test that on a routine basis. And with the Asiana crash that happened a few years, you've got to flood those planes or any accident with this material that you just don't want getting out to the bay. So really shutting and isolating down our system. Now, if you've ever landed at the airport, are the runways flat? They kind of, right, we don't use concrete on our run. We use only asphalt because the ground is undulating up and down. You can drive around the campus, especially if you drive on the airfield. It's like a roller coaster ride. I'll show you out in the field, our industrial plant, it's all subsiding. So everything's on pile up at this high, and the ground is now 2 feet lower. So we really got a plan for everything to settle. So all of our designs, all the handicap ramps for our buildings have to be hinged so that as the ground settles, it'll just settle down into place. So I wanted to talk as much as I could before we got out in the sun. It's going to be a long day for you guys. Are there any questions about our plant before we get out and see it? Yes.
Well, what you just mentioned in mind, how are you planning on dealing with sea level rise?
So sea level rise, our new lab admin will be approximately 2 feet higher than the base where we're standing right now to deal with the 1-in-100-year FEMA flood maps. All of our electrical buildings and everything else will be above that level. So anything underground has to be a submersible pump. It may be a dry pit, but it's a submersible that can withstand being flooded. The airport is also addressing that by FAA regulations, building a seawall around the entire campus. The hard part is, how do you protect from Highway 101? Right? There's just a K-rail along the highway. Are you going to build a wall along there as well? This is the one section of the facility that has no seawall at all around it. So this area will most likely get a berm. Other parts of the seawall are actually nylon pylons. They don't meet FAA standards for holding, they're good for splashes of water, but not holding back the sea. So certain parts have to be redone. So again, this is a multi-million-dollar project to protect this airport. We also own the parcel of property across the Westfield property where the gardener snake, the nice San Francisco gardener snake, and red-legged frog, 2 endangered species are. So we actually at this point have to have a spotter walk in front of any vehicles because a baby snake was found dead last week. So we actually, like many of you probably know, we have to hire biologists that sit on every project and just look for any signs of life and tell us to go take a break, come back tomorrow when things settle back down. So, and again, mating season and things like that are all important planning items for our airport. Any other questions? Who's excited to get out there? Yeah. Oh, wait, one more question.
So, considering how much you have to deal with in terms of concentration coming in, do you have a pretty big lab staff for that?
No. Well, it depends on how you define big. We have a supervisor and a staff of 3 or 4. Depends on how you count it. So we're adequate for our needs, and we're looking for a temporary person. I know one person in this group is on that list. See the planes riding around. So that whole way is just basically an anaerobic system creating gases that get released right at our headworks. So as you walked across that parking lot, you probably smelled us. We don't have any odor control. Our only neighbor is the City College of San Francisco Aviation program right next door, and they only pay $1 for that land, so they can live with it. Now, eventually they are going to be evicted, and this will all be claimed as more maintenance space. This actually is classified under the FAA as maintenance for them. The building we were at, building 924, that is our one new building. This building where we're on is the sequencing batch reactors. This was built in 2004. Behind you guys is the original plant. So you can see how far we've come. This was a primary treatment where the ladder is going down. That was the primary tank, followed by 2 aeration basins, a secondary clarifier, and then the chlorine contact channel to the left that we're still using today. We're now using these as equalization basins. You can imagine at the airport we get lots of flow during that 10 o'clock peak and later toward the Asian banks going, and then at midnight it all backs off. So we got to store some water so that it's nice and even distribution to our biology. The tanks to your right are the sequencing batch reactors. One tank is always filling. So right now we have 2 tanks in service. One tank is filling while the other one is treating. How long do you think it takes to treat? And if you look down there, you see some clear water flowing. That is our final effluent. So again, we take this black water and turn it into that. How long does it take to do that? 10 days. 4 hours?
8 hours.
10 days?
8 hours.
5.5 hours is what our treatment process is in this tank. It actually, that's about half of that time is just filling the tank. So it's really just about 2.5 hours to actually treat it to get it all out. We do about 99% TSS removal and BOD removal in that time. The problem is, in May we got to 80% conversion of the ammonia. So we went from 200 parts per million down to what most of y'all have coming into your plant, around 50 to 60 parts. Then it all fell apart. We're trying to rebuild our nitrifiers and work on that. So hopefully we'll be running all 3 SBRs for the first time ever later this summer under Aaron's direction. So wish him luck. We'll come down this way, we'll take a quick look. The next tank is under aeration right now, so you see the bubbling going on. And again, the concept here is fill that tank, typically under anaerobic conditions. So we're trying to select the proper bacteria and avoid the filamentous, but you see the nice foam on top. We have plenty of nocardia growing here. A problem with this led into, when we ran our digesters more efficiently, it led to digester foaming, so we really had to control things here, and now you see there's no foam on top of our digesters at all, so it only took about a week to get it in control, but just having those timings set up correctly was key. And then as we come to the last tank, this is our offline tank. We have a lift in it. We're going to do a final paint job to protect the piping, which is all fiberglass and gets UV baked. Once we get that done, we'll be putting this one in service. So you can see how deep these are. The water level is roughly 25 feet up to that weir. And we would typically run about a 4 to 5 foot blanket of solids on the bottom. So all good. Any questions about the sequencing batch reactors? Again, you're gonna, at Pacifica, they run the same exact design, it's just they're all underground, so you don't get to see them, so I thought it'd be nice for you guys to see them here. Now we'll take a walk around the industrial plant, and we'll get to see what else we do here. Which that grinder actually leads to problems for us, because again, we get everything from ice cream scoops to metal pieces, whatever someone can flush down a toilet on a plane can come to us. As you grind up the disposable napkins and things like that, it gets fine parts that then get through. So we have major issues with our valving around here as they just get gummed up with fibrous material and rags. And so we're going through a whole replacement schedule on all of our internal valves as well. It's going to take a while. This was not planned with a lot of isolation valves in the system, so we really have to take it, kind of shut down the whole plant, get to work, do it really quick, get messy, and then put it back together pretty quick, because our system really can't tolerate being off for too long. San Jose has them as well, but not too many plants have drying beds left, and off to the side is where we just took out a series of 6 drying beds, because that's where our new industrial plant is going to go. The airport is looking to, basically any piece of property that faces that airfield should be generating revenue for the city and county. And so really moving, we were going to build on the dirt lot that's next to us. We got evicted from that space midway through design and then pushed back here. So we started demolishing this in-house to get it ready, and we hope to be putting concrete in the ground in January, February if our schedule stays on. We have to go about 65 feet deep to get into a good competent soil, which is around here. It's just sandstone that is dense. We got to get through the upper mud. There's no good soil out here, period. So we're really not trying, they're all friction piles. We're not trying to stop settlement, just slow it down. And as we stand right here, we can see this asphalt used to be right up here, right? It's dropped down 2 inches. This is actually, they patched this area to fill that gap, and then it's settled since. You'll see a lot of examples of settlement out here. Everything out here is just bay mud that we're built on. There is no substance underneath us, so you put any weight on this land, it will just go down, down, down. So the industrial will come first. We'll finish that by 2019, and then follow suit hopefully in 2020 with the advanced portion and have the pipeline ready to roll. So ambitious plans. We hope to offset between 25 and 50% of our potable water use on this campus by reusing this water. The major problem for us, though, is converting the SBRs to do nitrification, full nitrification. We need a fully nitrified water to use it and reclaim it. We do not have the space, the detention time to achieve that according to every consultant we've talked to, but we're going to do it in-house and we're going to do it ourselves, and we'll make it happen somehow. I'm pretty confident. You can start to look under our tank again. You can see the cats coming and going. When we trap skunks and things out here, we just drive them to the Westfield campus and kind of release them back into San Bruno. But our operators do have to put that nice blanket over a skunk, which is not a fun thing. To keep costs under control, everything is basically built outdoors like our old plant is. So those are the dissolved air flotation tanks. We're basically putting a canopy over the top, and all of our pieces are basically from the manufacturer, installed with a PLC panel in the field. We network it together and get it built. So it's all slab on grade. We put the piles down, put a concrete cap on top, and then bolt all the equipment to it. So we're really, for our scale, we can get away from basically zero customization at all. The only thing that will be custom for us is the concrete ozone contactor itself. Everything else will be bolted down. So again, keeping those costs down. We are not a utility, we are an airport. And so we're doing a lot of education of our own folks to get budget, but simply we don't have line items on that 5-year capital program, so we've got to build it from scratch. This is the only money we got, so we got to stretch it a long way. If you see the upper rails on the dissolved, those Baker tanks over there, the front of the dissolved air flotation tanks, that metal rail has basically disappeared. You can walk in there and take a look at it. There is no metal left. There's nothing to weld to anymore. And so the minute it falls apart, the chain walks off the cog. We have to make this last for 2 more wet weather seasons, which gives our maintenance group a fit. We were down to basically 1 supervisor and 1 mechanic in the field. We just hired 3 new people, but when we tell our maintenance guys, you gotta make this last for 2 years and you gotta keep everything else running at the same time. It's a hard task. So we're hoping BAYWORK brings some good employees as well. Our latest employees, we're getting Maritime Academy graduates that come as journeymen into our organization. They're working out really great. So the labor market is so tough, especially on this side of the peninsula. We just cannot find people that want to take these jobs. And our starting salary for a journeyman nowadays is over $100,000. And we cannot find people that want to take those jobs. So if you guys got solutions or know something, tell me, because we're looking. This water will go to our recycled water system now. It's all a truck system, so we have local handouts. Our purple pipes are across the street and over in the yards next door. You can see how nice and clear this water is. We're maintaining a 5 parts per million concentration. Now another thing we're working on with the state is because we have no nitrogen in this water, rather than the rules are all about a 450 CT, right? Your 450 milligrams per milligram minute per liter using a contact time of 90 minutes. It's all based upon chloramination and forming as in chlorine to the ammonia. Since we have no ammonia, we're talking to the state about going with free chlorine residual. And so we're looking for a contact time of basically 10 minutes at a residual of 2 for a 20 CT. And we have verbal approval on that as well, so we hope to get that. We'll be more conservative and probably go up to 40, but that means we can continue to use this contact basin, make disinfected tertiary water using our existing infrastructure in the mid before we get our reverse osmosis system in. And so we're pushing a lot of the envelopes using science. So just as Bakwa in the Bay Area is driving science for nutrients, we're trying to use science to really drive our permits in a very good way. Simply getting the permission to avoid air gaps on our recycled water system is going to save us about at least $6 million of air gaps and pump stations in the terminals, and you can imagine we don't have space in the terminals anyway. So these are huge cost savings for us, and there's a major drive to get to high quality recycled water. So we really want to push that, and we hope to get down to Santa Clara very soon and take a look at theirs. Most of our operators have already been down there. I have not. But again, there's lots of examples from San Diego to Orange County to Santa Clara that have done nice advanced water treatment, and PUC will be one of the next to install that at Oceanside as well.